You don't have to watch women's basketball every night to see that something is off with the way USA Basketball is handling its biggest star. We saw it at the 2024 Olympics in Paris, and we're seeing a version of it again now as the federation rolls out plans for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup. On the court, Team USA keeps winning. Off the court, when it comes to marketing, promotion, and using the momentum around the sport, key decisions still don't match the moment. Start with Paris 24. The United States did what it always does at the Olympics. It won gold in women's basketball. No surprise there. What did surprise a lot of people was who wasn't on that team. There was no Caitlin Clark. You could add Angel Reese to that list too. Two of the most visible, most talked about young players in the country were nowhere near the Olympic floor. From a strictly basketball standpoint, there was already a strong argument that Clark had done enough to at least be on the roster or be one of the final cuts after a hard look. She came out of Iowa as a generational shooter and playmaker, walked straight into the WNBA with Indiana Fever, and proved she could run an offense against the best players in the world. Reese, con todo su impacto físico en rebote, también tenía un caso. But even if you set aside X's and O's, there's the other mission that national federations admit they have: growing the game. Caitlin Clark has driven ratings, ticket sales, and social media numbers that women's basketball had simply never seen before at the college level. Angel Reese helped create viral storylines and packed arenas. Leaving both of them off a roster that was going to be seen by hundreds of millions of people globally was a stunning missed opportunity from a marketing and growth perspective. Fans noticed, media noticed, sponsors noticed, and, in silencio, USA Basketball noted it. In the months after the games, there were clear signs that the leadership around roster decisions was being adjusted. Certain decision-makers stepped back, and figures like Sue Bird, a four-time Olympic gold medalist and one of the most respected voices in the sport, were brought in to have more say about the direction of Team USA. You don't make that kind of internal move unless you're acknowledging that the previous approach was flawed. Now, fast forward to the present. The focus has shifted from the Olympics to the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup. And on paper, in terms of the players invited to camp, USA Basketball appears to have learned some lessons. The training camp roster for the women's national team, set for December 12th through 14th in Durham, North Carolina, reads like a who's who of both current WNBA stars and rising icons from the NCAA. Aaliyah Boston is there. Brittany Griner is there. Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young. You also see the names that casual fans and new followers immediately recognize: Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Juju Watkins, Rickea Jackson, and more. This is exactly the blend you'd hope to see. Established pros who know how to win internationally, plus the young core that will be expected to carry the program into the 2030s. From a basketball perspective, inviting Clark, Beckers, Reese, and the rest of this new wave puts Team USA in a stronger position long term. You can't just flip a switch in 3 years and expect the next generation to be ready without having integrated them early. So far, so good. But then you look at how that roster was presented to the public. Alongside the list, USA Basketball pushed out a promotional graphic, the kind of image that appears on social media feeds and websites and is supposed to get people talking. This is where you showcase the faces of the program, the players you believe can attract attention from people who don't already watch the WNBA every week. It's the visual hook for the casual fan. On that graphic, you do not see Caitlin Clark. You do not see Paige Beckers. Instead, the featured faces are veterans like Kahleah Copper, Alyssa Thomas, Jackie Young, and others. Again, these are extremely good basketball players. Copper is a WNBA champion and finals MVP. Thomas is an all-around force. Young is one of the most efficient scorers in the league. Within the hardcore women's basketball community, everyone respects them. But nationally, their star power doesn't come close to what Clark and Beckers bring right now. Imagine a sports fan scrolling through X or Instagram. They see a USA Basketball women's training camp graphic. If Caitlin Clark is front and center, even someone who doesn't usually watch women's hoops will pause. Oh, Caitlin's with Team USA now? When do they play? If Paige Beckers is right beside her, that effect doubles. These are the players who've been on ESPN and ABC in primetime, who've driven record ratings for college games, whose names are known outside basketball-only spaces. This isn't just a fan rant. Longtime sports columnist and author Christine Brennan, who has covered the Olympics and U.S. sports governing bodies for more than 4 decades, said it flat out. She pointed out that national governing bodies like USA Basketball always say they have 2 core objectives: win medals and grow the sport. In her view, the federation utterly failed at the second part in Paris 2024. They won the gold, yes, but they missed a massive opportunity to harness the Caitlin Clark phenomenon on the biggest stage. Looking at the new training camp graphic, she argued that if USA Basketball really wanted to go all in on promoting women's basketball, really wanted to bring in new fans and generate unprecedented attention, they needed to add just one more player's photo. Everyone knows who that player is. It's not a mystery. Instead, whoever's in charge of communications chose a conservative route, visually centering safe, veteran faces rather than the one name that actually moves numbers and crosses over into mainstream culture. That decision sends a message. Consciously or not, it says there are still people inside USA Basketball who are uncomfortable admitting that Caitlin Clark is the single biggest driver of interest in women's basketball right now. As soon as you say that out loud, some people bristle. It can feel like it erases the work that legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Sylvia Fowles, Candace Parker, Maya Moore, and many others have done. It can feel like it devalues the grind of current WNBA stars who played for years in front of half-empty arenas. But recognizing Clark's impact doesn't mean disrespecting that history. It means understanding the moment you're in. The sport is finally seeing real growth. NCAA women's games are outdrawing men's games in key slots. WNBA attendance and TV ratings are climbing. People are buying jerseys, not just for one team or one player, but across the league. So when a federation seems to minimize the face that a lot of those new fans associate first with the game, it's hard not to see it as a self-inflicted wound. Now, to be fair, there are complicating factors. There's a real locker room dynamic to manage. Some veterans, understandably, do not want to feel pushed aside in favor of a rookie who hasn't paid her dues internationally. There is a fear, spoken or not, that everything is going to become the Caitlin Clark show and that the work of others will be overshadowed. But here's the thing. Managing that internal tension is the job. It's what coaching staffs and federation leaders get paid to do. The answer can't be to pretend your most marketable, most recognizable player is just one name on a list to keep everyone else comfortable. You can be fair in basketball decisions and still be smart in marketing decisions. There's also the argument some make that the graphic used existing photos of players who had already suited up for USA Basketball, that it was simpler to work with images from previous tournaments. That explanation doesn't really hold water in 2024. Brands routinely stage photo shoots, composite images, and use edited visuals to spotlight the athletes they want to push, whether or not those players have worn that exact uniform before. If you want Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers on the poster, you get the graphics people to do their job. This isn't the only place we've seen slow reactions around Clark's popularity. The WNBA needed time to adjust to the explosion of attention that came with her arrival. Indiana Fever, her team, had to learn mid-season that this wasn't just about improving win-loss record, it was about seizing a once-in-a-generation chance to rebuild the franchise's brand. Even Nike has had uneven pacing, with some big moments of promotion undercut by puzzling quiet stretches. By contrast, 2 organizations that absolutely understood the assignment were Wilson, which made Clark the face of a signature basketball line, and the LPGA, which recognized immediately what it meant to have her in a Pro-Am and maximized that opportunity. They didn't hide her, they didn't worry about whose toes they might step on, they saw the upside and acted.
So, when we see USA Basketball, again, step lightly around putting her front and center in public-facing material, it feels less like a simple oversight and more like a pattern. It's worth reiterating, no one is arguing that veterans like Kahleah Copper, Alyssa Thomas, or Jackie Young shouldn't be valued or respected. They've earned everything they have. But if the stated goal is to bring new fans into women's basketball, to lift up the entire ecosystem of the sport, then the smartest move is to use the players who actually resonate with that broader audience as visual anchors. Clark is at the head of that list. Paige Bueckers is right behind her. Angel Reese has her own gravitational pull. Juju Watkins is on that trajectory too. To push them all into the background of your own official branding is to leave a huge amount of attention, potential sponsorship, and future participation on the table. From the competitive side, USA Basketball will very likely be just fine. Even if Clark isn't on the floor in every major game, the depth of talent in the United States means the women's national team will go into any tournament as a favorite. Medals are not the issue. The issue is whether the Federation is truly prepared to ride this wave and help transform the scale of women's basketball in America, or whether it's going to keep behaving like it's 2010, promoting the team as if the sport hasn't changed and as if the audience hasn't exploded because of one particular player. At some point, the people making these marketing decisions have to answer a simple question. Are we more worried about protecting internal hierarchies and feelings, or are we serious about maximizing this sport's reach? Because right now, in a world where kids are imitating Caitlin Clark's step-backs on playgrounds and asking their parents to stay up and watch women's games, choosing not to put her face on a Team USA training camp graphic isn't just a minor flaw. It's a sign that part of the leadership hasn't fully accepted the reality that the landscape has shifted. Fans see it, media see it, sponsors see it. Foreign fans certainly see it. They'll be lining up in 2026 with jerseys and posters, trying to get a photo and an autograph like they're at a music concert, while some in her own system still treat her as just another guard. The choice for USA Basketball is clear. Either embrace what Caitlin Clark represents as a player and as a marketing engine and use that to lift everyone, from veterans to rookies, from national team to grassroots, or keep tripping over the same hesitation and watch other organizations in other sports and in other countries do what you would not. Where do you land on this? Is USA Basketball handling the Caitlin Clark era as well as it could? Or is it wasting a historic opportunity? Should internal politics and seniority ever outweigh the chance to grow women's basketball to millions of new fans? Drop your thoughts below. This conversation isn't going away, and how the Federation responds over the next 2 years will say a lot about where this sport is headed.